No contact. The dark psychology of no contact with women. Stoic love. Let's cut through the fluff and get to the heart of the matter. Women don't always return because they miss you. That's a myth. They don't sit around reminiscing about the good times or suddenly realize they can't live without you. No, the truth is much more calculated. When a woman comes back, it's often because of a power shift, not a surge of romantic longing. She wants control again, plain and simple. By going silent, truly silent, not just playing the "I'm pretending to be busy" game, you change the entire dynamic. You stop reaching out. You stop seeking her approval. You become scarce. And that, my friend, is where the magic happens. She begins to question herself. Why hasn't he messaged? Did he move on, or am I just not that important anymore? Is he out of my reach now? That uncomfortable void you create, that's what makes her come crawling back. But let's be clear, she's not coming back for you. She's coming back because she craves the control she once had. It's not your charm, your success, or even your confidence that pulls her in. It's the absence. It's the psychological damage your absence does to her ego. This is where most men miss the mark. She'll test you. It could be a "Hey stranger" text, maybe a random phone call, or even a "Remember when we used to" smile. But here's the catch. It's not affection, it's reconnaissance. She's checking to see if she still has the upper hand. If you respond too quickly, show too much interest, or slip into old patterns, you've just given her back control. The balance tips in her favor. She's back in charge, and you're once again chasing. No contact isn't a strategy to win her back. It's a strategy to win yourself back, to reclaim your emotional sovereignty, to remind her and yourself that your life doesn't revolve around her. The Stoics knew this truth. Detachment is mastery, not indifference, but a powerful self-control. When you learn this, you're not just deciding if she's worth having in your life, you're deciding if she's worthy of your time, your energy, and your world. 1. She misses the power she had over you. When a woman no longer has power over your emotions, your time, or your attention, something very primal shifts inside her. You see, many men don't realize that what often fuels a woman's emotional security in a relationship isn't just love. It's the sense of influence she feels over the man she's with. That influence can be subtle, like how often you text her, how quickly you reply, or how eager you are to please her. But it's real. When she knows she can pull your strings, she feels powerful. She knows she's the sun in your sky. But when you pull away and go silent, when you invoke the Stoic strategy of no contact, the entire dynamic is flipped upside down. Suddenly, she's no longer in control. And this doesn't just confuse her, it destabilizes her. She's now sitting in the void you used to fill, wondering if you've moved on, who you're talking to, and why her usual tactics don't work anymore. This is the dark psychology of no contact. It forces her to confront the truth that her influence is gone. She is no longer the queen of your emotional world. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's exactly what you're doing by going silent, taking your power back. And make no mistake, she will notice. At first, she may enjoy the space, mistaking it for a game she's winning. But as the silence grows, so does her uncertainty. She starts asking herself the questions she used to expect you to ask. Does he miss me? Is he thinking about me? Has he moved on? And just like that, the tables turn. But here's the kicker. If she reaches out, don't be fooled into thinking it's always about genuine emotion. Sometimes, it's just her testing the waters to see if she can still control the temperature. She doesn't miss you. She misses the power she had over you. Take the real-life story of Mark and Sarah. Mark used to be all in, texting Sarah, planning dates, showing her constant affection. Sarah grew accustomed to it and stopped putting in effort. Mark chased while Sarah leaned back. But then, Mark stopped. He vanished from her inbox, her call log, her radar. At first, Sarah shrugged it off, thinking he'd come back like he always did. But days turned into weeks. Then came the silence. And in that silence, Sarah felt the power vacuum. When she finally reached out, it wasn't to say, "I miss you." It was to check if she still had that invisible leash around his neck. That, my friend, is where the wisdom of Stoicism separates boys from men. The high-value Stoic man does not chase. He does not beg. He simply withdraws. Because he understands that true power lies in what you choose not to react to. As Epictetus wisely said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. And your emotional reactions to someone who disrespected your value? That lies completely in your control. So if you're going through this right now, if you're wondering whether to reach out, to explain, to clarify, don't. Embrace the silence. Let her feel the loss. Let her miss the emotional validation she once took for granted. And most importantly, use this time to rebuild yourself. Because this isn't just about her anymore. It's about becoming the kind of man who cannot be manipulated by affection, attention, or temporary validation. That's the Stoic edge. That's the dark psychology of no contact, not to hurt her, but to liberate yourself. 2. She can't handle being replaced. One of the most psychologically triggering reasons a woman comes back after you initiate no contact is rooted not in love, but in fear. Specifically, the fear of being replaced. As long as you're texting, checking in, or lurking in the shadows of her attention, she knows she still holds space in your world. But when that silence kicks in, when you disappear and go dark, something inside her begins to unravel. Suddenly, she's not just dealing with distance. She's dealing with the haunting possibility that someone else is now receiving the attention, the admiration, and the affection she once took for granted. This, for many women, is unbearable. And while she may tell herself and her friends that she's over it, that it's no big deal, or that she's already moved on, deep down, a storm brews, one of doubt, of insecurity, and of emotional panic. The mere thought that you could move on so easily without her, that another woman could now be smiling at your texts or laughing at your jokes, becomes a blow to her ego, not just her heart. As Stoic wisdom teaches us, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them, a truth from Epictetus that explains exactly why this fear can grow into obsession. It's not your actions, but her perception of being replaced that becomes the trigger. Women, like all people, desire to feel irreplaceable, to believe that their presence in someone's life is unique and unmatched. So when your silence suggests you've filled that emotional space with someone new, it ignites something ancient within her, a competitive drive, a need to prove her worth again, a deep psychological urge to reclaim her place in your life. It's not always about wanting you back. Sometimes it's about needing to know she could still have you if she wanted. This is why she may suddenly reach out, react to an old post, or start showing up in subtle ways. She's checking if the door is still open, if her presence still matters, if she hasn't been replaced by someone better. And here's where your discipline becomes power. So remain silent, remain composed, and remain grounded. The Stoic man does not chase validation. He lets others reveal themselves in the silence. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius once said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In this case, your best move is not to retaliate emotionally or to play mind games, but simply to live well, grow stronger, and let her face the reality that you are no longer dependent on her presence. So, to all the men watching this, ask yourself, are you holding on out of genuine love, or are you afraid of letting go? Because the moment she realizes you're no longer afraid to lose her, she becomes afraid of losing you. 3. You stop chasing, and it drives her crazy. There's power in stepping back, a force that most men don't realize until they do it. When you stop chasing, you flip the dynamic. Women are often used to being pursued, but when you withdraw your energy, it creates a vacuum that makes her wonder. Suddenly, she's unsure. The silence you leave behind is louder than any attention you've given her, and it sparks curiosity and desire. The Stoics taught that a man who controls his impulses becomes untouchable. When you stop chasing, you're not being passive. You're asserting control. This shift forces her to question, is he still interested? Has he moved on? That uncertainty draws her in. Take the story of Michael and Sophie. Michael was always there, texting, calling, seeking her attention. But when he stopped, Sophie's world shook. She began wondering what changed, why he pulled back. And when she reached out, it wasn't a game. It was a recognition of his value. By stepping back, he showed her what she had overlooked all along. In a world of instant gratification, mystery is magnetic. By letting her come to you, you're no longer the man who needs validation. You're the man she can't help but chase. Use this wisely. Let her feel the space. And in that silence, she'll either realize your worth or make room for someone who does. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. 4. No contact makes her feel like she's losing control. When you go no contact, you don't just go silent. You disrupt her entire psychological framework. You break the pattern she's grown used to, the one that gave her certainty, the one that made her feel secure in her position over you. Control, for her, isn't about obvious domination. It's about knowing, predictability, patterns. When you always text good morning, when you instantly reply, when she can predict your next move, she feels in charge, even if she doesn't say it out loud. It's the illusion of emotional control. And when you cut communication, that illusion burns to the ground. Suddenly, her emotional compass spins. She doesn't know where you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The silence is loud. It forces her to ask herself questions she never had to ask before. Is he gone? Has he moved on? Did I push too far? Does he even care anymore? These questions aren't random. They are psychological chaos unleashed by your silence. What you're doing isn't just pulling back. You're changing the rules of the entire game. She's not used to that. She's used to being the one who sets the tempo, who gets the last word, who decides when the door is open or shut. But now, the door has disappeared. You've become a mystery, and that, my brother, is power. As long as you were predictable, she never had to worry. You were the open book, the safety net, the emotional insurance. But the moment you went quiet, you became unpredictable. And in human psychology, unpredictability creates urgency. It activates desire. That's not manipulation. That's how the human mind works. As Robert Greene said in The Art of Seduction, absence increases respect and honor. When you're always present, you're taken for granted. But when you remove your presence, you create scarcity. And scarcity, my friend, is value. Now she's the one wondering. Now she's the one chasing. Because now the emotional scales have tipped. She's no longer in the driver's seat you are. That shift triggers not just emotional panic, but also ego disruption. She's not just wondering if you care. She's trying to figure out how she lost the grip, and that eats away at pride. Because here's the truth. No one likes to feel like they've lost control over someone who used to orbit around them. But the moment you stopped orbiting, you became your own planet. You became the sun. And let me tell you something real. When you step away in silence, you speak louder than any words ever could. You are saying, I no longer operate by your rules. I don't need validation. I'm not here to be controlled. I'm here to lead. That is old Stoic wisdom in action. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Brother, the no-contact rule isn't just a strategy, it's a declaration. A declaration that you no longer need to explain yourself. You don't need closure. You are the closure. And the irony? She doesn't want to chase, but she has to. Because the silence doesn't just leave a void. It tells her something terrifying. She's no longer the center of your world. And whether she admits it or not, she'll want that power back. She'll feel the pull to reconnect, just to reclaim that sense of control. But here's your job. Don't hand it back. Keep your frame. Stay solid. Stay unmoved. Because the man who can remain silent in chaos is the man who holds all the power. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of the game. Most men can't break free from the patterns that trap them in cycles of predictability. But you've learned the power of silence, the power of unpredictability. Now, I want to hear from you. Comment below. I am no longer bound by her rules. Let's engage and take control of our own destiny. 5. Silence exposes her feelings, and that's when you win. Silence is not emptiness. It's a weapon, a mirror, a test, and a revelation, all at once. When you go no contact, you don't just walk away. You create a psychological void that she can't ignore. Your silence echoes louder than any text, any argument, any explanation. And in that echo, she starts to hear something terrifying. Her own feelings. You see, when a woman no longer hears from you, she doesn't just wonder where you are. She wonders where she stands. Because women, especially those used to attention, validation, and control, depend heavily on emotional feedback to gauge their importance in a man's life. When that feedback is gone, even the most confident woman becomes uncertain. She begins to spiral. Her mind starts racing. Why hasn't he called? Has he replaced me? Why does his silence bother me this much? These aren't just passing thoughts. They become obsessions. That's the dark psychology of silence. It forces introspection. And introspection for her reveals something she wasn't ready to admit. She cared more than she ever said out loud. That realization crushes her ego. While you were chasing, she was relaxed, smug, in control. But now, the tables have turned. You're not begging. You're not explaining. You're not reacting. You're gone. And in your absence, she faces the truth she tried to hide from herself. It's not just missing you. It's realizing that the emotional upper hand she thought she had was an illusion. As the Stoics teach us, he who angers you conquers you. But when you are silent, when you don't react, you conquer her. Because silence forces her to battle her own emotions without your help, without your presence, without your permission. It is power. It is dominance. It is the ultimate psychological pressure. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't need to argue, beg, or chase. You just disappear. And she is left to wrestle with the one thing she can't control, her own heart. That's what breaks her. That's what shifts the dynamic. And that's when you know you've won. Not by force, not by manipulation, but by doing the one thing she never expected. Nothing. Comment below. My silence reveals the truth. If this hit home, like the video, subscribe for more commanding Stoic wisdom, and drop that comment if you're ready to take your power back without saying a word. 6. Women love the chase, but hate losing it. Women love the chase, not because they're playing games, but because the pursuit itself awakens emotion, excitement, and curiosity. The chase creates a dynamic tension, a spark that makes her feel alive, intrigued, and drawn in. But here's what most men completely overlook. While she may enjoy the thrill of being pursued, what she truly hates is realizing the chase is over, especially when it ends because you stopped chasing. Many men mistakenly believe that once they've won her attention or affection, the mission is accomplished, the game is complete, and now comfort can take over. But that mindset slowly drains the attraction dry. You see, it was never just about being caught. It was about feeling pursued with purpose. And once the thrill fades, so does her emotional investment. In truth, women want to feel like they're still worth the effort, still a mystery, still valuable enough for you to work for, even after you've won them. When you pull back and focus on your own path, your own mission, and stop revolving your world around her, she starts to feel something unexpected, a sense of loss. And this is powerful. As the Stoics would say, he who is brave is free. And when you live from your own center, when you stop clinging, stop over-pursuing, and embody calm strength, you trigger something far deeper than momentary attraction. You trigger respect. Women instinctively know that a man who has purpose beyond them is a man who cannot be manipulated by attention or emotion. That's why no contact works. It repositions the balance of power, replacing obsession with clarity and desperation with dignity. It doesn't mean playing games or pretending you don't care. It means living a life so full, so grounded, that her presence becomes a blessing, not a need. And here's the paradox. The more you prioritize yourself without neglecting her entirely, the more she feels like she's the one chasing you. Because deep down, what women fear most is not being pursued. It's realizing they've lost the ability to attract your attention. The moment she senses the chase is slipping away, her mind begins racing with questions. Why isn't he trying anymore? Has he moved on? Is someone else capturing his interest? That fear becomes the seed of obsession. So men, take this wisdom to heart. Maintain your mystery, protect your purpose, and never hand over your emotional center. Stay grounded in who you are. As Seneca wisely said, if you know not to which port you sail, no wind is favorable. Keep sailing toward your mission, not toward approval. And now I ask you, have you ever pulled back and seen her chase harder? Or have you given too much too soon and watched her vanish? Share your story in the comments. Your insight could help another man regain his strength today. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. If this spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful Stoic insights. True strength lies in your ability to remain unmoved, no matter the situation. When she reaches out again, remember, it's not about seeking approval. It's about maintaining your peace. Don't be swayed by temporary emotions. Keep your purpose clear and your mind steady. Ever been in a similar situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's grow together. The real test isn't whether she returns, but whether you've evolved to a point where you no longer seek her approval. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and always remember, you have the power to shape your reality. See you in the next one. Keep rising.